So haggis is, of course, a little animal. And it only exists here in Scotland. You can't get it anywhere else in the world. It is unique to this country. They've tried to introduce it to zoos throughout the world, and it always fails because they need that special blend of extreme cold, horrible weather, and the nutrients they get from eating moss at the top of the mountains. And Alan and I, before we did this, we used to be haggis hunters. And we would go to the Highlands, which is where the haggis live. They live on the top of the highest mountains. And there are two different types of haggis. Now this one here, if I remember rightly, this is a right-handed haggis. And the reason it's called the right-handed haggis is because the legs on the right-hand side are longer. And this is so when it's walking round the hill, it stays level and it can chew away at the moss. There is another breed, the left-handed one, the legs are longer on the other side. And to catch these, what we do is we go to the Highlands, we spot them on the hill, and we creep up at night, and we put a net round the bottom of the hill, and we climb up the hill, and we get behind the haggis. You don't want to be in front of them because they've got very sharp teeth. You get behind them, and you tap them on the shoulder, and of course they're very curious, so they turn around to see what's going on. And of course now, the short legs are on the wrong side, and they roll. And they roll all the way down the hill into the net where we scoop them up, throw them in a cart, bring them back to Edinburgh, and we sell them to the tourists. Guys, you believe that, you believe anything. Yeah? Haggis is our national dish. It's probably best you don't know what's in it. It's wonderful. Have you all tried haggis?
Yes.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It can be an acquired taste. Some folk don't like it. Vegetarian haggis, I don't get, but that's fine. But it's considered, you know, it gets pride of place at a lunch supper. It is piped in a big silver platter. The bagpiper comes in front of it, and he'll pipe it around the room, and it comes in. And it's considered a great honour to toast the haggis. And Burns, being Burns, wrote a poem about it. And I'll do the first verse again. Fair fall at your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the pudding race. Aboon the ma ye tak your place, paint stripe or fair. Weel are you worthy o' a grace as lines my hair. And again, I could tell that you all really understood that. Basically, he's just toasting this. It's like haggis it's a savoury dish. And he's saying the great chieftain of the pudding race. Well, he's not talking about a sweet pudding. He's talking about a savoury pudding, like a sausage. And he's saying haggis is up there, it's above them all, it's the best ever, it's great, fantastic. We're proud to say that's ours. But it's a fantastic thing. It's really tasty, it's wonderful. You always have it, haggis, neeps and tatties. Neeps, of course, turnips, tatties, potatoes. So a very nutritious meal. Tam Shanter was a real person who lived in Ayrshire. Now Tam was he was a married man. I don't know if he was a happily married man, but he was a married man. And Tam and his wife had a very strange relationship because Tam liked to go to the pub until the early hours of the morning, and Tam's wife didn't like him going to the pub to the early hours of the morning. And Alan, part of what he was saying, she was nursing her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep her warm. So she was getting really annoyed because this night Tam's out at the pub, and she's getting more and more annoyed because he's not home yet. So Tam's at the pub, it's last orders, but he stays for a couple of extra ones, and he says a few wee whiskies, and he jumps on the horse, well, he kind of staggers out and gets on the horse. And he heads home. And as he's riding through the village, it's pitch black, there's no street lights, it's the 1700s. And then out the corner of his eye, he sees lights coming from the churchyard. And he hears music, and he thinks, I've not got a stereo on my horse, that's obviously coming from over there. I'm going to go and have a look. Now, I don't know about you guys, if I hear noises come from a churchyard in the middle of the night, I'm going nowhere near it. But Tam's had a few whiskies, he's feeling quite brave. So he heads up and he gets off the horse, ties it up, and he sneaks through the graveyard, around behind all the stones, and he makes his way around, he turns the corner, and he peeks out from behind this headstone. And what he sees blows his mind completely. Because there in front of him is a big crowd of witches and warlocks. And they're dancing to music played by the devil himself. Tam is absolutely stunned. He doesn't know what to do. He's terrified. But he can't stop looking. And the music's getting faster. And Tam's eyes are drawn towards a young witch, a very shapely young witch. And she's wearing a white linen shift, which we in Scotland call a cutty sack. And as he's watching them, the music's getting faster. Tam's starting to get into the music. He's starting to feel the beat. And he's getting on. And she's cutting mad shapes on the dance floor. And he's loving it. He gets so into it. And the music reaches a crescendo. And she jumps up. She does this mad super triple twirl, double somersault, lands on the feet. Ta-da! And Tam is so impressed. He forgets where he is. And he stands up. And he shouts out, "Well done, Cutty Sack!" And of course the music stops. They all turn and look at him. The devil points at him. And the warlock, so much he's all raced towards Tam. He realises what he's done, so he turns, he bolts, he gets on his horse, and he rides off thinking, "I'll outrun them." But the witches are fast. They're pulled by supernatural power, and they're catching up with them. And right at the front is the young witch in the white shift. She's catching up with Tam, and she's getting closer and closer, and he's panicking. But he knows, like I'm sure you all know, that witches cannot cross running water. So he heads to the bridge over the river. He gets onto the bridge, and at that point, she reaches out and is able to grab hold of his horse's tail. And at that point, he goes over the water below, and she comes to a dead stop, and she's left holding this tail. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we think Tam told his wife when late in the pub again. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But that's our take on Tam and Shanter.
So it's the 25th today, and some of you are going to a Burns supper. And if anyone's not going to Burns supper, see if you can get one organised and go to it. It's great. But there'll be Burns suppers going on from today for the next week, 10 days. And so they'll be there to enjoy, and you'll have your neeps, hags, neeps and tatties. Really nice. Now, Rabbi Burns was that popular. He was young, he was only 37 when he died, and that was in 1797. It only took a few years, and the first Burns supper was in 1801. So it only took 4 or 5 years to get to the point where people were celebrating his life and his works. And even nowadays, the way the world rotates, the sun rises in the New Zealand area and it works its all the way around, and each country it passes, there will be Burns suppers all around the country. So whether that's in Asia, whether it's New Zealand, Australia, Europe, America, there's Burns suppers on everywhere. And his popularity was that great that Britain was going out around the world, and they were putting statues up of Rabbi Burns all around the world. And it's a fact that take religious statues out of it. Rabbi Burns is one of the top statues and top number of statues you'll see around the world in all countries around the world. So it's very, very popular. So,
Sorry, I'm going to jump in now, because this is the bit this is the bit where I get to sing. And I can't sing. So, for this bit, this is one of probably most associated with his name. It's a song that you hear the world over, at New Year in particular. I know in the States it's a big thing to sing at the New Year. Is of course a song called Auld Syne. It's about friendship, and it's a traditional Scottish one that Burns collected, and it's been set to music. Probably most of you know it. I remember we did this a few years ago, and we were all in a big circle and we were singing away, and the girl beside me was a very small girl from China, and she was singing away in Chinese, and I went, "Oh, you know this?" And she went, "Yes, it's a traditional Chinese song." I went, "Oh, isn't it? It's Robert Burns." So that's how big his appeal is. He's known throughout the world. Abraham Lincoln, the President of America in the 1800s, was able to recite Burns like that. Very, very popular throughout the world. It's everything to every man. But to do this is the part where I need your help, guys. So I would like you to form a big circle round me, please. Alan, help the circle. Come on. That's Alan's drawn a circle for. And come, guys. The thing is, you're going to have to hold hands in the person next to you. The closer to you, it's much easier. Why am I stuck in the middle? You're just trying to put your hand right where you hit yourself. Alan, help! He's trying to cuddle me. It's not right. Right, guys, join hands with the person next to you. Remember, a stranger's just somebody you haven't met yet. So, all you're looking for is a nice, gentle start to this song. And we sing this in Scotland at the end of pretty much if it's a birthday or a wedding or that. Everybody gets in the big circle and they sing them. There's 3 songs we do at the end of the night in Scotland. This is one of them. The other 2 are Proclaimers, 500 miles, we do that all the time. And the other one's Loch Lomond by Runway. But this is the big one, this is Burns. And it goes like this, and I'm going to sing now. Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old lang syne. God, that's boring, isn't it? That's a bit dull, a bit dirty. You've got to remember, we're singing this at the end of the night, guys. We've been in the Edinburgh all night, we're bouncing! We're up against it, the shooter's rocking it. And we're at the end of the night, so we're singing this and we're saying goodbye. We'll see you again, guys, but we're saying goodbye. So when we get to the later verses of this, you drop your hands, you cross them over, and you join hands again. And you now realise you've got to be a lot closer. So when you move in a bit, squeeze in. Come on. And when you're doing this as well, now, it's going to be at a faster tempo. And as you're going, your arms are going up and down, and the circle is going in and going in. Basically, it's just a big fight set to music. No punching, no kicking, okay? So, you ready? 1, 2, 3. For old lang syne, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Once more. For old lang syne, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Guys, give yourselves a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just touched the surface with Roche Falls. Burns wrote and collected hundreds of poems in his very short life. He was many things. He was a farmer, he was a patriot, he was a lover.
My love is like a red rose, newly sprung in June. My love is like a melody, sweetly fading soon. And as for thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love and I will love you, oh my dear, till all the seas gang dry, till all the seas gang dry, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love you still, my dear, while the sands of time still run. And far away, my dear, and far away a while, but I will come again, my dear, though it be 10,000 miles.